Hello everyone and welcome to For the Craft. In this project you will see how I created a diorama of the famous incident when HMT Olympic rammed and sunk a German submarine during the First World War. This video is sponsored by Elegoo, and for this project I used the Elegoo Jupiter SE resin printer. You can check the Elegoo products by following the link in the video description. If you're looking for a reliable and high-performance resin 3D printer, the Elegoo lineup is hard to beat, and the Elegoo Jupiter SE truly stands out. This machine offers a huge build volume, making it perfect for large prints or batch jobs. The auto-feed resin system and user-friendly interface make the printing process smoother than ever. Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, the Jupiter SE offers premium features at a reasonable price. So you can check this printer and other Elegoo products by following the link in the video description. Once I printed the Titanic and the submarine, I primed them and then began the laborious process of painting them. During World War I, the Olympic was converted into a troop transport ship, and her hull paint was changed to dazzle camouflage. Especially on the port side of the ship, the camouflage pattern has many lines and curves, which make painting the hull quite a challenging task. To tackle this challenge, I covered the port side with paper tape and drew the various lines and curves of the camouflage on the tape with my pencil. This process allows you to easily erase any mistake and draw again. Then I cut the tape at the points where I would paint the camouflage, stuck it back on the ship and started painting. Painting the starboard side was easier because the camouflage consists of straight lines, so I just used masking tape. After I painted the ship and the submarine, I began the weathering process using various oil paints. According to testimonies, the submarine was hit here at this point behind its conning tower, so I will cut it somewhere here. Of course, in reality, the explosion and damage wasn't as big as I am going to make it in my diorama, but those of you who follow my work know how much I like to make explosions, and because I also want the explosion to be clearly visible in the video, I'm going to make a bigger explosion than what actually happened. So I cut the submarine and used some cotton and epoxy resin to seal the two parts of the submarine. I also used a battery-operated LED strip and cotton to create the underwater explosion. My idea was to create the explosion at the bow of the ship and hide the electrical cables at the level of the ship's waterline. Of course, I painted the cables with the same color I used for the ship's hull. Then with UV resin, I glued the two parts of the submarine and the various debris on the explosion. I also used thin wire to create the submarine's rigging. When everything was ready, I proceeded to the resin pouring. While I was waiting for the resin to harden, I started making the wooden base, which I painted black, and I also painted a background for my diorama. Once the resin was cured, I glued the diorama on the wooden base and proceeded to create the sea surface. I used an acrylic water gel to create the waves on the surface of the sea and around the ship. I also used acrylic gel and cotton to create the water displaced by the ship's bow. I then mixed the acrylic water gel with acrylic snow to create the foam from the waves, both around the explosion and in the sea around the ship. Finally, with acrylic gel and cotton, I made a water fountain created by the submarine's explosion. When I finished the sea surface, I proceeded to create various details on the ship, such as the cranes, the rigging, and the handrails. I also used my lathe to create the ship's main mast. I made 4 small holes on the background of my diorama so that I could glue and connect the ship's Marconi cables. At that point, I installed the batteries, made the electrical connections, and closed the back of the diorama with the wooden lid. In the final stages of this project, I glued the last ropes around the main mast, I added handrails on the ship's bow, I created the smoke coming out of the front funnel, and my diorama was finished. So this is the diorama that shows the Olympic ship ramming and sinking the German submarine during the First World War. I hope that you enjoyed watching the making process and you like the result. Maybe this item could be the first half of a bookend and I could create another diorama as the second half. Let me know what diorama would you like me to make for the second part of this bookend. Write your ideas in the comment section under this video. I would like to say a big thank you to Elegoo who sponsored this video. Elegoo have very nice and reliable products and I invite you to use the link that you will find in the description of the video and check their products yourself. I am sure that you will find a 3D printer that will help you to make your own ideas come to life. I also want to say a big thank you to everyone who supports this channel via Patreon, Super Thanks and other means. You guys are all awesome and I really appreciate your support. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you all a very good day and I will see you again next time. Goodbye.